My parents gave my car to my brother without asking, saying, "You can just buy another one." I let them think they won until my brother tried to register it and found out the shocking truth because I'm not the kind of person who causes drama. I've always been the calm one in my family, the one who helps out, doesn't ask for much, does everything the right way. I got my first job at 16 flipping burgers in Colorado Springs, saved every dollar. I didn't party, didn't drink, didn't even date that much. I was focused, and I did it all so I could buy my first car. It was a used but reliable Subaru Outback, perfect for mountain driving, solid in snow, and had just over K miles when I bought it. Paid in full. Title in my name, every cent from my own pocket. My younger brother Chase. God, Chase was a different breed. Spoiled, lazy, always getting into trouble but somehow always being bailed out. My parents bent over backwards for him. Meanwhile, I was just expected to be fine. I lived at home while going to community college and working part-time. Not ideal, but it helped save money. My parents charged me a small rent and I paid it no problem, but what happened next made me see just how little they respected me. "We thought you'd be okay with it." One weekend I went on a trip with my girlfriend. Nothing fancy, just Denver for a few days. I left the Subaru parked in the garage, keys on my nightstand. When I got home Sunday night the car was gone. I checked the driveway, then the garage again, then my room, thinking maybe I misplaced the keys. Panic hit. I ran to my parents. "Oh," my mom said casually. "We gave the car to Chase, he needed it for work." I thought she was joking, but no, they gave it to him. Didn't ask me. Didn't text or call, didn't care. I just stared at them. "You gave him my car? It's not a big deal," my dad chimed in. "He needs it more than you. You're working from home now anyway. You can just buy another one later." Buy another one. As if I didn't spend years saving. As if it was some cereal box I could just grab more of. I lost it. Not screaming, but cold, angry, controlled. I said, "You do realize the car is in my name, right? I own it legally." My mom waved her hand. "It's just a car." No, it wasn't. So I let them win. At first I went back to my room. I didn't speak to them much after that, just quiet. I didn't scream, didn't fight. I let them think they'd won. I watched Chase drive around town in my Subaru, revving it like it was a sports car, filling it with his buddies, smoking inside it. Every time I saw that car, it felt like I was being slapped. But I waited because I knew something they didn't. The title of the car was still in my name. You see, Chase may have the keys. He may be using the car, but he couldn't do much legally. The title was still with me. I had the original locked in a safe under my bed, not just a copy, the real one. And that meant something. That meant he couldn't register it. Couldn't get plates. Couldn't insure it in his name. And the temporary tags my parents forgot to mention? They were fake. I found it out by calling the DMV myself. I waited. Just watched as Chase continued to drive. And then, he got pulled over. The call that lit the fuse. "Hey man." The cops towed the Subaru. "Something about fake tags and unregistered vehicle," Chase said over the phone, panicking. "Can you fix this?" "Nope." I told him flat out. "Not my problem." He freaked out. My parents called me the next hour furious. "This is your fault," my mom screamed. "You should have taken care of this." "I did," I said. "I took care of it years ago when I bought the damn thing. You took it from me." My dad tried guilt. "Be the bigger person." "I already was," I said. "And it got me nowhere." Then I hung up and went to the impound lot the next day with the title and got my car back. You think that's it? No, it gets better. Chase tried to file a stolen vehicle claim. Yeah. He actually called the police and told them I stole his car from the lot. Guess what? Police came to my job. I showed them the title, my registration, everything. The cop literally laughed and said, "This is airtight. He's got nothing." The report was filed against Chase for false reporting, and it didn't end there. DMV Justice Chase tried to register another car under his name a few months later, a beat-up Honda Civic his friend sold him. Turns out because of the false police report and some prior unpaid tickets, the DMV flagged him. He had to pay over $1,300 in fines before he could even get new plates. My parents had to front him the money. They were so mad but still blamed me, said I was tearing the family apart. Nah, they did that when they chose favorites. The fallout: I moved out 2 weeks later. Got a cheap apartment, nothing fancy but mine. Haven't spoken to my parents in over a year now. Chase? He texted me once, said he gets it now. He apologized but it didn't feel sincere. The best part? I still drive that Subaru. Runs like a champ. I had the interior detailed, got rid of the smoke smell, fixed the dents. It feels like mine again because it is. Ghosts don't stay buried. A few months after moving out, I finally started to feel peace. My apartment was small, just a studio in a slightly run-down building in old Colorado City, but it was quiet. Nobody barging into my room, no one borrowing my stuff without asking, no fake smiles, no walking on eggshells, just silence. I thought it was over, that I had finally drawn a line between me and the mess. I was wrong. One Tuesday morning I got a knock on my door. It was my Uncle Roy, my dad's brother. I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years. He looked uncomfortable, like he didn't even want to be there. "Mind if I come in?" he asked, glancing over his shoulder. I let him in, sat him down. He didn't beat around the bush. "Your dad's in trouble," he said. "Big trouble." What the hell did they do? Apparently after I left, my parents started pushing all their financial pressure onto Chase. He was the only one left at home, and they were using his name for everything. Credit cards, utilities, even tried to put the home internet under his name after theirs got shut off. But Chase had no money, no job anymore either. He'd gotten fired for getting into a screaming match with a customer at the vape shop he worked at. So my dad had a brilliant idea. He decided to take out a personal loan using my old documents, an old copy of my SSN, an expired driver's license he still had. He tried to forge my name. And the worst part? The loan got approved, $8,000, and guess who missed every single payment? My identity was stolen by my own dad. I got the first collection letter 2 weeks later. Then the call started. I went straight to the bank and pulled a copy of the loan. Fake email, fake job listed, wrong address, but my name, my social, my info. They even listed the Subaru as collateral. I couldn't believe it. My own father forged my identity. I went cold. Not angry, not crying, just ice in my veins. I filed a police report. I reported the fraud. The bank opened an investigation, and you better believe I gave them every name, every address, and every document I had. And then I waited. Everything starts burning a month later. I got a call from a detective in El Paso County. He told me the bank was pressing charges, not just civil fraud, criminal forgery, identity theft, fraudulent loan application. My father was arrested. My mother tried to lie and say it was her who filled it out trying to protect him, but the detective already had his fingerprints on the application. It made local news. Small article, page 6, but it was there. Local man accused of stealing son's identity to secure loan. My phone blew up. Old friends, extended family. Some siding with me, some furious that I had let it go this far, but I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't lie anymore. The family splinters. My grandmother, my dad's mom, called me crying. She begged me to drop the charges, said family is everything. I asked her one question. Did he ever apologize? She didn't answer. My aunt from my mom's side texted me, "I don't blame you. Your parents always treated you like the extra piece." Chase went silent, radio silence for weeks. I thought maybe he was mad too. Then one day he showed up at my work. He looked older, not physically but like something in him had broken. "Can we talk?" We sat in his car. A different one now. A junky Nissan with a cracked windshield. He said, "I didn't know, I swear. I didn't know they used your info. I didn't know about the loan." I believed him. He looked at me like a scared little kid again. Then he said something I didn't expect. "They want me to take the blame." The new sacrifice. My parents were pushing Chase to say he forged the loan because he was younger. First offense, he might get off easier. They wanted to feed him to the wolves to protect themselves. Same people who gave him everything, and now they were willing to ruin him. I felt sick. He asked me what to do. I told him, don't lie for them, not this time. Family court and firestorms. The case went to pretrial. My dad tried to play dumb. Claimed it was all a misunderstanding, but the evidence was too strong. His prints, his handwriting, the IP address from their home Wi-Fi. They offered him a plea deal, 2 years probation, full repayment, public apology. He refused, wanted to fight it. It was like he couldn't stand the idea of being seen as less than. My mother tried to visit me. I told her not to show up again. She left a note on my door. "You used to be such a good boy. I lost something too." All of this started because I bought a damn car. It's stupid in a way, but deeper than that, I realized something. I never had a real family. I had people who needed me quiet and obedient, who loved me for how useful I was, not for who I was. Once I stood up, they hated me. But I also gained something. Clarity, distance, control. I started seeing a therapist. I told her everything. She said, "Sometimes going no contact is the healthiest thing you can do." I nodded, but I wasn't ready yet because I wasn't done. The final move they didn't expect. Chase moved in with me temporarily just to get out of the house. We talked, really talked, for the first time in years, and I learned something else. He'd been lied to too. They told him I left because I didn't care anymore, that I said he could have the car, that I didn't want to be involved. They were feeding him poison about me for years. We made a plan. Together he agreed to give a statement, truthful, about the forgery, about the car, about everything. The prosecutors added it to the file. The plea deal was back on the table, but now it came with a clause, public apology to me in writing. Filed with the court. My dad tried to fight it again. He failed. The hearing is in 3 weeks. I'll be there sitting in the front row watching him read every single word. Secrets don't stay buried. 2 weeks before the hearing. I got another letter, not an email, not a phone call, an actual stamped envelope. Return address, a P.O. box in Pueblo, Colorado. Inside, a printout of a document and a yellow sticky note. The note said, "You need to know the whole truth." The document was a power of attorney form signed 3 years ago. Gives my mother full access to act on my behalf. But here's the kicker, it was signed by me, except it wasn't. I never signed anything like that, not in person, not digitally, nothing. It was a forged signature. Same pen strokes, same style, same date as the loan paperwork. But this was dated before the loan, before Chase even had the car. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a plan. The bigger picture. I called the bank. I called the notary listed on the power of attorney. Here's where things got nuts. The notary was my mom's old friend. Someone she met at church, and she wasn't a legal notary anymore. Her license expired 5 years ago. But her name was still on the document. I dug deeper, got a lawyer. We pulled records. They'd used this power of attorney to open a second credit card under my name, one I never even knew existed, and it was maxed out. $4,900 used on Home Depot runs, a vacation Airbnb in Santa Fe, grocery store tabs. They were living off me even when I still lived under their roof. Even before the Subaru, they were slowly bleeding me dry. And the worst part, my dad wasn't the mastermind. It was my mom. The phone call that broke me, I called her against my better judgment. She picked up like nothing happened. "Hi, sweetie." I didn't even say hello. "You forged my signature," I said. Silence. "I have the power of attorney document." I spoke to the notary. "You signed as me and used it to open credit in my name. You stole from me before the car, before the loan." Still silence. Then she said something that made my stomach turn. "I did what I had to do to keep this family afloat. No apology, no shame, just cold logic. You were living here, eating our food. You owed us." That was the last time I spoke to her. Chase's choice. When I told Chase everything, he went pale. "You're telling me they've been using your name even before the car?" "Yeah." He didn't say much, just nodded. Quiet. That night, I heard him crying in the bathroom. Next morning he was gone, left me a note. "I can't live with them or myself until I make this right. I'm going to Pueblo. I'll find the notary. I'll get her to talk. I'll get everything." The recording. 3 days later, Chase emailed me a voice recording. It was 17 minutes long. The audio was rough, clearly recorded from a phone in a pocket, but it was clear enough. It was my mom talking to the notary. Notary said, "I'm not comfortable being dragged into this again, and my mom, you didn't do anything wrong. He was our kid. He owed us. We were just giving him responsibility." Notary, "No, you were giving yourself money." My mom, "Don't act like you didn't get paid." That was the moment. That line. I sent the recording to my lawyer. He forwarded it to the DA. The charges multiply. The DA reopened the case. Now my mother was added as a co-defendant. Conspiracy, fraud, identity theft, notarizing a fraudulent document. The court date was pushed back. Bigger case, more paperwork. I kept going to work. I kept paying rent. I kept driving my damn Subaru like nothing had changed, but everything had. Old faces returned one night. I came home and found a letter shoved under my apartment door. No return address, no stamp, just a folded piece of paper. Inside was a printout of my credit report, but not the recent one. An old one from 2 years ago when my credit had dipped mysteriously, and I assumed it was from a late student loan payment. It had 5 accounts opened under my name, all of them in collections, none of them mine, all of them traced back to addresses linked to my Uncle Roy, that same uncle who warned me months ago. The spiderweb. I confronted Roy. I didn't even try to be subtle, just showed up at his auto shop in Pueblo West, walked right in while he was talking to a customer, waited until it was just us, held up the paper. He looked at it, then at me, and sighed. "She said you wouldn't notice," he muttered. Turns out, he helped her. My mom was drowning in debt. Roy had good credit once, until she pulled him under too. So when my dad refused to keep helping, she turned to me, started opening accounts using my info. Roy didn't do the fraud, but he helped deliver the documents. That's why he tried to warn me months ago, because the walls were closing in on him too. I reported him too. I gave his name to the DA. They asked me, "Are you sure?" Yes, I was. He didn't forge anything, but he transported stolen info. He knew what she was doing and didn't stop it. That made him part of the fraud. Roy was arrested 2 weeks later. This time, it was all over the news. My phone blew up again. This time, nobody defended them. Even my grandmother stopped calling. She knew. They all did. The courtroom showdown. The courtroom was packed the day of the preliminary hearing. Bigger venue now due to multiple charges and the fact that it was a joint hearing. 2 defendants, my father and my mother. My uncle's case was being handled separately. I sat in the front row just like I said I would. Chase sat beside me, dressed in the same wrinkled button-up he wore to job interviews. He hadn't spoken much since the recording. There was tension. You could feel it in the way people avoided eye contact, in the way my mom fidgeted with her scarf, in the way my dad stared at the wall like he was somewhere else. The judge walked in. Everyone stood. Then the prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the state will demonstrate a coordinated effort by the defendants to exploit the identity and financial trust of their eldest son without his knowledge or consent for personal and monetary gain. And then the evidence rolled out. The fake power of attorney, the voice recording from Chase, the fingerprints on the loan application, the IP logs, the notary's deposition, the old credit accounts tied to my name. Even Roy's confession was part of the record now. My mom turned red, then white, then just blank. My dad didn't flinch once, but it was me they asked to take the stand. Speaking the truth in public, I walked up. So Warren took my seat, and for the first time in my life I told the whole truth out loud in front of them. They didn't just steal money, they stole years from me. They took advantage of my silence, my loyalty. They lied to my brother, lied to everyone, all because they thought I wouldn't fight back. The room was quiet, dead quiet. Then I looked at my parents. My dad taught me how to drive. My mom packed my lunch when I was 10. I loved you both, but you loved what I could do for you more than you ever loved me. My mom's lip trembled. My dad blinked once but said nothing. The judge called for recess. The confrontation in the hallway, we stepped into the hall and that's where it happened. My mom rushed over. Her voice was a whisper scream. You did this to us. You humiliated us. Chase stepped between us. He didn't do anything, Mom. You did. Her eyes darted like she was looking for a way out of the conversation. Then my dad said the words that tore through me. We only did what we had to do. You wouldn't have helped us otherwise. That was it. That was the truth. They thought they were entitled to my life, my work, my future. I looked at my mom one last time. Her face had collapsed into tears. And I said, I'm not your insurance policy. I'm your son. Fallout. My parents were offered a plea deal, no jail time, but full mandatory financial counseling and community service. Their lawyer pushed them to take it. They took it. The court ordered them to pay back over $17,000 to me. It'll probably take years. I might never see a dime, but I didn't care because they had to stand in front of a judge and admit what they did out loud in front of family, friends, and strangers. Chase moved out of state, got a job in Fort Collins working in warehouse logistics. We talk once a month. He's rebuilding. Slowly, Roy lost his business. His shop was shut down after he pleaded guilty to aiding in fraud. We haven't spoken since. My grandmother? She sent me one last birthday card, no note inside. Just a drawing I made when I was 7 folded between the pages. I never replied. Healing is not a straight line. I got a call from my mom 6 months later. She left a voicemail. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, I know it doesn't fix anything. I know I hurt you. I miss you. I never called back. Some days I feel bad about that. Some days I don't. Therapy helps. I still go. I still drive the Subaru. It's up to 210,000 miles now. Runs a little rough on cold mornings. I don't care. Every time I sit in the driver's seat, I remember that day they took it from me. And I remember that I took it back. Not just the car. My life. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust again. Not the way I used to. When betrayal comes from the people who raised you, it breaks something in you that doesn't heal like a broken bone. It heals like scar tissue, thick, rigid, always reminding you. But I've also learned something else. You don't owe loyalty to people who hurt you just because they gave you life. Sometimes love has limits. And sometimes walking away isn't betrayal, it's survival.